Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 19th day of May, 2023, Friday of the 6th week of Easter, the 41st day of the Easter season. Coming to you from the interior of our cafeteria, Jacoba Hall, where it is market day with our third graders. Each of them have produced, by their own hand, a craft to be able to sell, to be able to learn a little bit about business and finance and marketing and advertisements and things like that. So it is a wonderfully busy day today here with wonderful handcrafted things done by our third graders. And there is a couple of them just getting crazy excited about being able to sell and purchase. So I may have to go buy a couple of things a little bit later on today. Today on this Friday of the 6th week of Easter, as we near the conclusion of the Easter season, we have the first reading, Acts of the Apostles. Paul is given courage by God to not stop proclaiming in the city of Corinth. Again, Paul has faced a lot of opposition as he moves into one of the more populated areas along the Greek coastline, and in the city of Corinth itself, there was a thriving Jewish community who does not want to listen to what Paul has to say because, as they say, he is teaching contrary to the law of God. And they try to bring him before the proconsuls, the Jewish or the Roman governance, and the Roman governance basically says, this is your own matter. Do not involve me in this, because they probably have heard what happened to Pilate and how Pilate, had to deal, again, with all kinds of things that Pilate didn't want to deal with, and again, condemning Jesus or in making Jesus go to his crucifixion. And so there's again unrest. There's a lot of anxiety and pain, but Paul remains steadfast, and Paul remains steadfast in being able to proclaim the good news, being proclaim the gospel to people who will listen, to people who will hear. Again, it grows not by leaps and bounds at times, but it grows in small numbers. And there are a number of people, God tells Paul, in Corinth, who will not only protect him, but who will want to listen to what it is that Paul proclaims. So again, we just hear the struggles again of this early Christian community. It was not all just wonder and glory and beauty and love and fraternity and sorority and brothers and sisters together in Christ. There was a lot to overcome, and a lot of things that things that people opposed in what was being spread about Jesus, about his mission, about his ministry, about his death and his resurrection. In the gospel, again, it's a good corollary to it, a good connection to this first reading in Paul's troubles in Acts, in which Jesus says, again, you will weep and mourn while the world rejoices. Again, it's sort of a foreshadowing of his death and what will happen to him, and how there will be loss and abandonment, it is felt, and the world will have seemed to have overcome something that made it uncomfortable. Again, putting Jesus to death, getting rid of someone who was annoying because he called people to think about themselves and about God, about what it means to be human, about what it means to be people who are in relationship with each other, and what it means to build bonds of friendship and love. But while the world rejoices, the mourning that we have as believers will be turned to joy itself, and a joy that will never be able to be compared or achieved by anything in the world, because again, a foreshadowing of the resurrection. That again, we move from death to life. We move from difficulty to joy. We move from hardship to wonder and gladness. That is what we look for. That is how we are to live our lives as believers, in this world. And again, Jesus is trying to show the apostles, show his followers, that there is something to continue always to hope in, because the hope that God gives is a hope that renews. The hope that God gives is a hope that gives strength. The hope that God gives is a hope that does not end up in vain, that does not end up with nothing. But for us to be able to see that and to witness it and to believe it is our greatest challenge. And it's what we're called to be. It's what we're called to do. It's what we're called to. It was called to live. How we're called to be in this world as people that give hope and give reason and answer for our hope. That it is not based upon foolishness. It is not based upon a dream. It is not based upon a silly superstition. But that our hope is grounded in Christ, who conquers all things that stop us from being human and stop us from having the life that we deserve to live, that we need to live, to be able to be God's glory in this world. A continued blessed Easter season, St. Francis and people of God, may the Lord always give you his peace.